It feels so good to say that today because this is the first painting I've shared in a long time. All through the fall and most of December, I didn't paint, I didn't film, and I didn't post anything. Life became very full and very quiet at the same time. There was a lot of family time, everyday tasks, and then a whole wave of viral illnesses that knocked me down for weeks, one after another. On top of that, my rheumatoid arthritis flared and my body kept asking me to slow down. While all of this was happening, on the surface something very strange and tender was happening underneath. I started going through unusual experiences. I still don't fully understand. Moments that felt like the ground shifting, like the way I see the world, my heart and myself is slowly being rewired. I have a feeling it will take me years to really unpack what has been happening to me, creatively and spiritually. So the painting that we will paint today is a scene I kept coming back to in my mind again and again, because the sunsets I've seen near Cambria are some of the most luminous and serene I have ever witnessed. This coastal sunset is my way of gently coming back. I'm grateful that I have enough energy now to sit down, open this old footage that's been patiently waiting for me, and finally share the process with you. For all of you who want to follow along, I'll list all the supplies I'm using in the video description. And I'll mention each color as we move along, so you can easily follow or adapt the palette to your own style. If you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to write to me in the comments below. I enjoy hearing from you and I'm always happy to help you in any way I can. And before I begin, I want to mention that in my works, I'm not aiming for a precise depiction of any single moment. And in this work, I'm thinking more about my feelings, a quiet stretch of shoreline, the sky slowly melting from gold into soft violets, the sound of waves in the background, while everything inside finally calms down a little. That's why I'm so deeply grateful for these moments of returning to the page, to the paints, and to all of you. While we sketch the scene, you'll notice how I loosely apply my pencil strokes. I like to work this way because in the end, I get more of a reflection of my state of mind than an accurate representation of the view in front of me. When you paint along, please keep this in mind. Your work will naturally look and feel a bit different, and that is exactly what we should expect from these sessions. Every painting feels like it opens a little more depth in our minds and creativity, and the less we overthink, the more freely that creativity seems to flow. These are video recordings I filmed back in April of 2024, and only now do I finally get to share them with you. My family and I love visiting the central coast of California for its luminous sunsets, lush rolling hills, and quiet restorative moments by the ocean. As we move along, I'll show you different scenes I've witnessed over the past 2 years, and it feels like the right time to gather them here, painting this coastal sunset together while I share some of those memories with you. Dear friends, for a short while I'll guide you with on-screen captions so you can simply enjoy the creative process while listening to the music. Please be gentle with yourself if you are painting along. Pause the video whenever you need to, rewind sections, and ask questions if any comes up. Let's begin. Alright, as you saw, I began by pre-wetting the paints with clear water, simply dabbing each color with a loaded brush. You may have noticed a little shift here. I chose to activate only the colors I thought I might use and left the rest dry, so those unused colors stay inert and ready for future paintings. If you are curious about what can happen to paints when we keep pre-wetting them without really needing to, let me know in the comments, and I'll talk more about that there. You see me pre-wet the paper with clear water using a large MO brush that can hold a lot of water. Some of you may not be familiar with the paper I'm using today. It's a 140-pound rough paper block by Magnani. I picked it up in Belgium last summer, and I'm still getting to know about the properties of this paper. From painting on it a bit, I've learned that it's not for everyone. The texture is quite rough, so if you prefer smoother, more even washes and clear lines, I'd recommend choosing cold press paper instead. I'm now laying in broad sweeping strokes of chromium yellow deep hue, a color I've really grown to love and been using it more often lately. This yellow helps me set the warmth of the horizon and set the glow of the setting sun. You can see that the paper is still quite wet, and this is the moment when the paints feel the most active and alive. To keep the strokes from flooding the entire surface, I try to load my brush with paint that has slightly less water than what's already on the paper, so the marks can hold their shape a bit better. I talk about this in almost all my tutorials. Learning to gauge the balance between the water on your paper and the water in your brush is a skill that only comes with time and practice. Because I love watercolor so much, I try to give myself a lot of grace while I'm learning. This medium is incredibly beautiful, but it can also be tricky and a little fickle when you try to control it too tightly. I hope you are gentle with yourselves too, and that you keep coming back to watercolor, because it has so much quiet beauty to offer. And while the painting process is moving along, I want to share a little more about what has been happening over the past 3 months. I won't be able to go into every detail here, but I can share the shape of the story. After I published my last video, my life became filled with experiences I still struggle to put into words. For days in a row, I would wake up with a feeling of profound love for all living beings on this planet, so strong that it would stay with me all day. During my walks in nature, for example, or when I was just sitting quietly at home, waves of thoughts and insights began to surface. I kept thinking about how deeply connected we all are, and how, even though the news and social media often highlight the harshest and darkest parts of humanity, that noise still feels too weak to shake the very core of who we are. Underneath all of that, there's something kinder and more stable in us that doesn't go away. My mind often turned to people who are having a hard time right now, those living with disabilities, people without shelter, those spending their days behind bars, and anyone who feels forgotten or unseen. Somehow, instead of feeling overwhelmed, I felt this growing sense of love and compassion for all of us in all these different circumstances. It was as if my heart kept widening, making space for more people than I thought I could hold. These experiences also brought me back to memories from my childhood, when I felt a natural sense of connection to nature, to our beautiful planet. Over the years, while I was busy surviving in a new country, raising a family, and managing day-to-day life, that feeling slowly faded into the background. Only now, in these more mature times of my life, do I feel myself returning to that quiet sense of belonging, to people, to nature, and to the larger universe. I now realize that I can't fully explain these experiences. Some of them feel too big for words. But through a series of little events, I kept being led towards different spiritual and philosophical writings by Pythagoras and Plato, early Jewish, Christian, and Sufi mystics, and many others. As I read, what amazed me was not how different they were, but how similar their core message felt. In their own language and symbols, they all kept circling back to the same truth, that love is at the center of everything. Love as the force that holds the universe together. Love as the reason we care for each other even when it's hard. Love as the quiet light that keeps showing up in different traditions and times, reminding us that beneath our fears and differences, we share the same heart. The realization that love is all there is moved me deeply. It made me see my own small life, my family, my health struggles, my art, and even these quiet painting sessions with you in a different way. It felt like an invitation to live a bit more gently, to notice beauty more carefully, and to share whatever little light I have, whether through words or through watercolor sunsets like this one. So, as we continue painting, I'm holding that message close, that every brushstroke can be a tiny expression of this larger love. And by creating together, we're part of something much bigger than any one of us alone. Dear friends, let's quickly review what we have done so far. You saw me re-wet the sky and begin to drop in my colors. For this piece I chose a mix of cobalt blue, ultramarine finest, and ultramarine violet for the cooler part of the sky. And then balanced that with permanent carmine on the opposite side. I'm looking for colors that can dance together on the paper without instantly turning dull when they mix. On the lower part of the painting, I moved into warmer tones in the foreground and used different blues to suggest the ocean. As I mentioned earlier, I'm still very new to this rough Magnani paper, and it doesn't naturally lend itself to perfectly even, silky washes, and I'm learning to be okay with that. Instead of fighting the texture, I'm letting it be part of the mood of the piece. Then you saw me reach for cadmium red medium to warm up the shoreline and describe the rocky formations. Combined with other colors, cadmium red can create deep, moody browns and grays to help me depict rich darks. From there, I add burnt sienna, brown madder, and even a touch of Naples yellow. And for those of you who saw me paint before, you know that I tend to get excited when I paint. I feel like my analytical mind often quiets down, and I sometimes get carried away. And that's part of the joy of it for me. I hope you also give yourself permission to loosen up and explore when you work with watercolors. In the end, painting is very much about enjoying the time you spent creating something that didn't exist before, and letting that creative play bring a bit more light into your day. Now you can see me lightly suggest the ripples on the water with the tip of my favorite Yasutomo calligraphy brush. I feel like by this time I do not overthink which brush to use next. By this point my hand just naturally reaches for what it needs. The same is true for color choices. I simply pick up whatever hue feels right for the scene in front of me and trust that somehow it will all come together in the end. You know, this quiet sense of knowing didn't appear overnight. It slowly grew from many hours of simply playing with paint. And if you are watching this and hesitating to start, I hope you give yourself permission to paint with whatever you have on your table today. Maybe choose a scene you've been wanting to paint for a long time, but never found the time or courage for, and just begin. As some of you know, I find so much inspiration in nature, listening to the sounds, feeling the wind, watching how the light shifts across the land and sea. And these quiet moments outdoors stay with me and gently push me back to the paper. This love for nature is what compels me to paint and to share these pieces with you. And this work gives me meaning and sense of hope for a beautiful future. Creativity and the freedom to express what's inside give me strength and make me want to keep going. My wish is that you too will discover your own light, whatever form it takes, and share with the people around you. The world truly needs your beauty, your voice, and your light. I hope you felt it by now that watercolors can be not only fun, but also incredibly rewarding, offering little moments of surprise and awe when the pigments seem to know exactly where to flow on their own. I feel like the less I try to control them, the more they reveal their inner beauty to me. While I'm adding these last splashes and finishing touches to the painting, I want to tell you how happy I feel to finally reconnect with you. I'm hoping to paint more as the weather warms up and I begin to feel less pain and a bit more energy, so I can share more of the beauty of the place I call home. I'm deeply grateful to you for keeping in touch, whether you write comments here on YouTube or reach out to my Instagram page. It truly means a lot. Thank you for checking in and for staying connected. And to those of you who are also living with chronic, debilitating conditions, I want you to know how deeply I relate to your daily struggles and how much I too hope to find my way towards less pain and more energy. I'm looking forward to sharing that journey with you alongside my life in watercolor, because something tells me that the more I can help you, the more I help myself along the way. If you find my videos inspiring or helpful in any way, please feel free to share them with anyone who might benefit from this work. My dear friends, as you go back to your day, I hope you keep noticing the light in your own life, in the sky where you live, in nature, in the people close to you, and I hope you let yourself share that light in your own way. The world really does need your presence, your creativity, and your kindness, and I'm honored we get to walk a part of this journey together.